Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a special live broadcast. I can't wait to introduce my guest today. We've been trying to get on for the last 7 minutes, but for whatever reason, the internet was just not complying, and you know how it can go with the tech stuff. Hi, I'm Hannah Fitz, international brand strategist and business coach, and the founder of the brand atelier at hannahfitz.com. I'm so thrilled that you're here with us today because this woman here with me is a powerhouse. And I am so thrilled to introduce her. Melissa is the Soul Love Coach and the founder of the Soul Love Ritual Kit, which she'll tell you all about during this interview at some point today. Melissa, can you just share with us a little bit more about what you do, who you work with, and the amazing work you do in the world?
Well, Hannah, I am so glad to be with you. I am always watching you live. So what a treat for me to be on with you live. I am Melissa Brown, as you have shared, also known as the Soul Love Coach. And I am in the business of helping very busy professional women reclaim their power and reclaim their life. My background as a psychotherapist and as a minister, with me, you get the best of both worlds. I get to kind of blend those two together, and together that makes the Soul Love community. And it is work for your emotion and for your soul so that you can really live a life that you desire and that you love.
Love it. Phenomenal work. And I'm so passionate about the work that you do because I see the transformation that you create for clients. So tell me, Melissa, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this business.
Well, as I shared, I am a psychotherapist by trade, a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been in private practice probably for more than 20 years now. Been a social worker for more than 25 years. And I had a brick and mortar practice, but my husband is an Army chaplain. And so with Army life comes moving. And I had just opened up a practice, and we had been just growing and booming in the Washington, D.C. area. That was my dream, to be able to create sacred space for people. And he came home and said that we were moving to Louisiana. And I just was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And it was actually my clients who said to me, Melissa, you got to figure out how to see us online. And I was, really skeptical. And I said, I don't think this is going to work. Like, how could I create the warmth and the environment that I was creating in my office with my couch and with my teacups and all of that in person? How could I do that virtually? And because my clients demanded it, they really put me on a journey that really was such a blessing. And so now, instead of just working with people in the DC metro area, it's like I've been working with women all over the world since 14, 15. It has been a wonderful ride.
Love it. And I know that you do amazing retreats as well all over the world with your women. So this is incredible. So tell me, what made you realize that it was time to create a stronger brand presence and take your brand to the next level online?
Well, like I said, Hannah, I was familiar with you, because one of my coaches, you and her are mutual friends, and you had come to her platform many times and shared, and I had just started following you. And I was like, oh, this woman is really smart. She knows her stuff when it comes to marketing. And I always thought branding was just the website. I was one of those classic people who thought it was the website, the pictures, the colors, and that comes last. And when I, really started paying attention to what you were saying, it really was about the messaging. And because I do emotional and spiritual work, I just do what I do. I didn't quite have the language. I didn't have the words, to position myself in the marketplace in a way that I was making sales at the level that I knew that I probably should be, because everyone who knew me kept saying, "Oh, I knew your business is booming," but it kind of wasn't. It was good, but if everyone kept saying it can be so much better, I couldn't figure out how to get it there. And with our first consultation, you were again another one who said, "Melissa, you could go leaps and bounds." And I just needed someone to guide me in what I didn't know. And you masterfully gave me the language for what I do so effortlessly, but other people would pay at a high ticket price to do.
Yeah. I love that you're sharing that, Melissa, because so often, we know that we have a potential, which is like hair. And it's like, how do I break through to that next level? And it's that feeling like something's missing. You're feeling like you're doing everything, you're marketing, you're doing the work, but it's just not where you want it to be. And I think one of the things that we share very early on, there's a fundamental difference between marketing and marketability.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you discovered about the difference between marketing and marketability, and why marketability is so important before you actually step into marketing.
Well, like I said, I really needed to understand what I did. I just was doing the work, and I did not quite get what my it factor was. What is my thing? What is my unique value proposition other than just transformation? What makes Melissa unique? And what I love about the work that you did with me in the Global Academy was really more around, it was really a journey to self. Which is a huge part of how you get to 6 figures and beyond. I had to really develop and learn an appreciation at a deep level for what I was doing, what I brought to the table that was truly marketable, that filled a gap for the clients that I desired to serve, as opposed to just saying, "Work with me, I can help to transform your life." What exactly does that mean?
What is transformation? What does transformation mean? What does that even look like?
Yes. And so I needed someone who could hear what I could not hear. And so, your process of being able, where you ask a million questions, what happens when this person does this? And what is your process? And because we all have a process, I had not really even documented my full process. Which a lot of coaches, especially if this is just your zone of genius, okay, we've done that part. We figured out what you're meant to do. But when have you really evaluated and almost kind of pick apart, what is it that Melissa really does that makes Melissa Melissa?
Yeah, that makes you different. That makes you, what is that? I always say it's about, how do you make that shift from being an option in the market to being the one? Because and being able to communicate. And that's why I love what you said about the value proposition. Tell me a little bit about, what discovering your value proposition was like for you, and how that impacted your ability to sell your services online.
Well, and again, because I do emotional work and a lot of times in the coaching space, and I'm guilty of this too, there's so much focus on the business coach. There's so much focus on other coaches who are teaching people how to be a coach. And that wasn't my thing. So, but I was very used to that kind of marketing language of, I can help you create this amount of money. I can help you, get this many clients, and, all things that are kind of more business and money related. But my results were more emotional, were more spiritual. And how do you articulate and put a value on getting yourself out of a deep depression? What's the value proposition of your marriage being reconciled and you not ending up in divorce? Stopping generational patterns of pain and suffering. How do you articulate that in a way that doesn't cheapen it, and at the same time puts a proper value on what that is. And so I began to look at, well, who else is even doing this kind of work?
Yeah.
And so, for all of us who are coaches who are not business coaches, don't sell yourself short, because, 9 times out of 10, there probably aren't a lot of people doing what you do. And
Yeah.
so while we're steadily trying to be like the business coach, the value is in you being you.
Yes.
And so, I really began to look at even some of the big name personalities of people who do emotional transformation, and they may have conferences with people by the thousands. That's not really my personality.
Yeah.
And to be able to own that I have a boutique brand. I
Yeah.
have something that's special. I like the intimacy of working with people one-on-one. I know a lot of coaches, hey, we can do an intensive for a weekend, but I don't want to walk with you for 12 weeks, 14 weeks. I love it.
Yes.
So to create a brand that was authentic to me and what I like, that I didn't have to give up all of the aspects of me and my private practice and my couch, that I could create the couch atmosphere virtually.
I love it. I love it. And I love how you're saying how important it is to honor, your own brand of magic and how you love to do business. You love that intimacy. You love that boutique approach, that bespoke approach.
Yes.
And that's okay if someone else wants to have like 10,000 people in a program and never know the names of those people.
Yes.
With your program, you want to get intimate and personal with your clients.
Yes.
And because of that, two things I want to address. I don't want to skip to this yet. Two things I want to address. I love how you said to people who are not business coaches and who are not doing things that are, say, like, I will help you create 6 figures in 6 weeks kind of messaging, that I think a lot of people lose confidence around how can they sell valuably. And especially in the wellness space, I find that wellness coaches and people who deal with transformation, they sort of struggle with a little bit of this guilt of charging for the work, because they think somehow it should be a charity or it should be given away or something. Can you speak to that? Have you, I know that this is something as a group inside the Global Brand Creation Academy we had to work through, because we had other people who were in that space. Tell me some of the challenges, like the mindset breakthroughs that you had to make to be able to claim your worth fully as a transformational coach.
Absolutely. I mean, our own personal money stories are so important to be aware of. And I really had a struggle kind of mindset, if just being honest. And I know part of that is because of my background coming as a social worker that was all about community, often working for low pay. And then on top of that, being an ordained minister, where most of my ministerial career, I volunteered. I've only had one paid ministry job, even though all the jobs I worked like I was on staff. And so you can become very accustomed to doing and being available to people emotionally, but doing it for free.
Yes.
And so it was okay to charge, but I was really struggling with when you start getting into those bigger numbers. And again, that has to do with some of my own transformation. It's like that just enough, enough, but is it okay for me to be in abundance? So whole lot of mindset work on the fact that what I desire for my clients, the divine also desires for me.
Yes.
And part of my value in my brand is authenticity. And so how could I teach? How could I be working to transform people to know their value, to accept their value, and to not settle when I was settling? So if I wanted to get a certain kind of client, I had to be a certain kind of woman myself.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. And tell me, so Melissa, so you went through that process, understanding the value proposition. And in that process, you began to understand how you can actually charge more. for
Mhm.
your work. We'll talk a little bit more about that mindset piece and the charging and also those big wins that you had in the process. But we did also some other work because you said it was a journey to knowing yourself, and you spoke a little bit about the it factor. And
Mhm.
for those of you listening for the first time, the it factor is a signature process that we do with our clients. We give every one of our clients receive a custom report. This is called the Globally Irresistible Distinction Report. And you discover what is your brand it factor. A lot of times people are doing things, but they are not sure like where the magic really is for my brand and how do I do it consistently and cohesively in a way that will speak to my ideal clients. So tell me about your Globally Irresistible Distinction Report and what you discovered about your brand it factor and how you have been able to use it to step into your next level brand.
Well, I wasn't really surprised with my results. Well, to some degree, I was. I had always been calling myself, well, I'm like a caretaker. I'm like the mother bear. And when I got my report back, that was not one of my archetypes. The caregiver was not an archetype at all.
Yeah.
So, really, again, part of my money story, if I'm in the mode of I'm caring for, these are my little babies, these are my hens, how could I charge them?
Yes.
That was part of that dynamic. But
Yeah.
now finding out that my primary it factor, my archetype is the sage. I
Yeah.
am the wise woman. I am the shaman.
Yeah.
I am the healer. And so, and then I love the fact that you didn't just give us one, you gave us three. And
Yeah.
so the sage is my dominant because I know I love to teach. I love knowledge and information. And then, the innocent is kind of my ideal client, just idealist. And I'm a Virgo, so that's me.
That's totally you, the virgin,
You
the
know,
idealist.
Just we have our whole idea of how the world should be and everybody should be at peace. And
Yeah.
then the one that really surprised me, though, that really has helped me to align my brand more is our twist.
Yeah.
And my twist is the magician. And
Mhm.
so I was like, yes, to be a transformational coach who just makes it happen. I don't even know how it happens. It's something divine that takes place. We can't even explain it, but you just know it happens. And
Yeah.
so, although I was operating that way, again, language is so powerful to know what to call it. And, one of the things that you did in kind of teaching us was when you write emails to be able to assess and say, are all my archetypes showing up? Am I writing from the space of that wise woman? Am I writing with that twist and all, kind of merging all those together? And so it really helped me to kind of step into who I am, that this is me. So it's one thing to kind of say, yes, I do healing work, but it's like, yes, no, this is me. This is
Yes. You know what I love, Melissa? And I see this with a lot of clients that they think they're a certain archetype. And what I say to people when we do this work and we look at the deeper layer of what your archetypes are, a lot of times certain archetypes behave in very similar ways. The innocent and the caregiver can behave and see life in a similar kind of way, but their intentions are
Mhm.
very different. And that is what sets them apart. A sage and an explorer, they're both on a journey of self discovery. But the sage and the explorer are discovering life from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
And so when you fully understand that and you don't cross the lines, you can really authentically step into yourself. It's like you're a Virgo, but your innocent archetype is there, and to not leave that out. So this
Mhm.
is such, and the part of the assessment, it's powerful because I'll tell you, even for me, sometimes I will do things and I will know it didn't work because I didn't do my assessment and I didn't bring in the key it factor
Yeah.
that was required to be able to elevate the message and make it so much more captivating to the audience.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I think is great that these archetypes aren't just for you. They
Yeah.
really help to call in a certain avatar. because I feel like I have gotten so clear on the women I'm meant to work with. And we don't have to work hard for them to get me. It's almost we instantly connect because they connect kind of with that sage energy. They want to learn. They're soaking up all kind of information, and they appreciate and value me, and I appreciate the way they show up. So it's so key to what we put out there. Like I said, I am so clear that marketing is not just marketing. Everything is intentional. I look at commercials totally different now after you, Hannah.
You know, my clients say that they go out to the store and they're like, oh my gosh, I cannot watch the brands the same anymore. So tell me, what have you discovered about building a brand and how you see some of those world-class brands that we talk about in the academy? How do you see that operating in your business and in how you are now putting your brand out into the world? What's been the big shift in how you're actually putting your brand into the world?
My word for this year has been expansion, and it is so key. At the end of last year, I know you offer to many of us, your clients, this visioneering process. And one of the questions that you asked during that time was, if you were to take your like signature program or just your body of work and you had to 10x it, if you had to do that, duplicate
1,000 times.
Yes, what would that look like?
Yeah.
It totally blows your mind when you begin to think on that kind of a broader level, because I think for the most part, we're always, as coaches, business is very different from the work you actually do, because there is the business of your business and then there's the work we do with our clients. And you really put us in a mode like a CEO. I love that about you, that it's not just about what kind of coach do you want to be, but this is your brand, this is your business. What do you want this to look like 10 years out? Is this the way you want to work? What kind of products? What kind of impact? And so with that, I know now what I'm working towards. And so anything that I create, any program, I have to kind of run it through that assessment to say, is this taking me where I say I want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or is this just another program? The retreats, all of it, am I bringing on team to support the expansion that I am envisioning, or am I just waiting, for things to blow up and then I'll get the team? By then it's too late. Yes. So really stepping into that greater vision, that larger vision. I know you mentioned earlier the rituals bundle. I'm always talking about self-care. And I always had this vision, like, you all can tell, I love teas, I love coffee, I like sitting on the couch and getting intimate with people. And so it's like, why not create your own? And so, because Hannah only deals with powerhouse women, one of the ladies in the last group owns a tea farm. That still blows my mind. She's younger than me. And so it's like, wow, this woman owns a tea farm in Grenada. And she's like, I can help you create your own blend, Melissa, if you really want that. And so again, being primed and prepped because you're in a certain atmosphere and vibe to say yes, as opposed to, let me overthink that. How is that going to work? We do that. I don't do tea, but it's like, because that's the kind of brand I want. I want to have my own products. So I have custom tea. I have custom cups. I have custom journal.
Love it.
All the things and candles, beautiful aromatherapy candles to help women to ground in their rituals, not just talk about the rituals, but to have your own products to support that.
I love it. And, that's the power of also community. Some of you will be meeting, if you join us here again, I think next week we'll be announcing it. We'll be having Tamika on, who is the founder of Bay Leaf Teas and who actually tripled her business last year and doing phenomenal as well. So Melissa, you have created your teas, you have created this alignment and expansion. Let's talk about some of your big wins. So when we created your value proposition, we created your signature high level package, which was a 20K package.
Yes.
Tell us about the process. Tell us about the process, because this was very interesting journey, and I think a lot of women can also learn from this.
Again, I really think it has a lot to do with what you're willing to say yes to. Yeah. And when I first met Hannah, you had said this, that, oh, I could see you selling, this amount and these kinds of high-end packages. And I really laughed to myself, like, okay, yeah, I don't know when that will be. I don't know who's going to buy that. And it was like, the more I began to really own who I was and the value that I bring, all these years of experience, and just the work, the transformation that's happening with people. When you helped me to actually put the package together, and you said, this is what I want you to step into, this is how many I want you to sell, I just straightened my back, straightened my crown, and just said, okay, that's what I'm stepping into. That's, to me, that is the beauty of a coach, of someone who sees even deeper than you, more than you, and can hold the standard, hold the bar higher. And because we want to grow, you step up into it, not shrink down. Because I was thinking, okay, maybe $10,000 packages, that would be a step up. No, and it's like, no, that doesn't feel right.
I love it. And it was such a journey. So you went out and you invited amazing women into this program. I think you brought in like 8 new clients.
Yes. Well, not quite 8. That was the goal. We brought in 6. Yeah. But I brought in 2 right away. Almost
2 days later.
Yeah. As soon, and because that's the other principle as well. You cannot sit on it. You got to move. Money loves momentum. So before I began to talk myself out of it, I said, let me get on the phone. Let me talk to people. And really the 20K package was just the same work I was doing, just over a longer period of time. And I really had to think about my clients that continue to come back after a 3-month program, or after, okay, they came back for some follow-up. They just keep coming back. And I did not think that they would be the ones to be interested in this. I'm like, gosh.
I remember we had that conversation. You're like, who am I going to sell it to? I'm like, you go to your warm leads, and then you were like, but how am I going to go to them? I was selling like low-end packages, and now
and they did not flinch. They did not miss a beat. Totally blew me away. They said to me, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. Amazing. And so if I were on my own, those sales would not have happened, because Melissa would have limited herself. Melissa would have put limitations on my clients and said, oh no, they're not going to do that. Yeah. But they were waiting on me to do that.
Yeah.
And so again, to those of you who feel like there is no one to sell to, look at who you have sold to before.
Totally.
And if people really know, like, and trust you, they will buy from you again and again and again. And all of these are women who are launching into something new. We're not doing the same work we've done before. They're like, but I still need the emotional support, because I support women in leadership. They're like, I step out into this, Melissa, I need to stay spiritually grounded. And of course, all of my big packages have a retreat. So all I had to say was, don't you want to go to St. Lucia?
Exactly. And, I want you to, those of you listening, again, just to recap, if you're just joining in, Melissa is the Soul Love Coach. She does a lot of spiritual work and transformational work with her clients, and having to overcome this whole mindset that only business coaches can charge a premium price for their service, to really stepping into a higher level and selling elite packages for her deep transformational work that clients actually love. In fact, I remember, I will never forget where I was when you sent that message through our group chat.
Yeah.
And you said, I sold my first 20K package. I was literally standing at a store in the mall. And I think I sort of like just started jumping up and down because I know that, yes, you welcomed it, but there was this kind of like,
Yes.
and then this kind of, okay, I'm going to lean into it.
Yes, yes.
And it was so powerful to see that, because I knew you could do it. And when I'm with a client, I'm not the coach who is going to just tell you sell a high-end package just because we want to sell high-end. I really feel into who am I dealing with, the level of experience, what this person can actually bring to the table. And I knew that this price is actually just the beginning.
Yeah. And my clients, like I said, all of the stuff that was in my head, you know, because even with when you up level your money story, it's not a one-time event. You have to continue to do it as you break through to different levels and, you know, break through whatever your norm has been. And so it's kind of like, okay, like you said, let me lean into that. They just said easily, yes, I would invest this amount of money to work with you for a year. And it's like, okay, let that soak in, and then do it again, and then do it again. And it may not be for everyone, and that's okay. It didn't make me feel like, you know, in the past, if someone told me no, I would feel like I just got spanked. Like, oh, maybe I was too much. Maybe it was too high for them. But all of these women also, I think, because I've done the work to be clear on who is the right woman for me to work with.
Yes.
They welcomed it. They were ready for it. And I know one of the things that you talked to me about was, if you want to serve women at a higher level, that I had to step into this new price point.
Yes.
That the vibration needed to get higher.
Yeah.
And so for a higher level of service, it required the client to step up, but also me.
Yes.
And so when you framed it that way, because service is my thing, I was like, yeah, let me mature. Let me do what I have to do within myself to step into this, because I don't want to shortcut my clients.
Yes. And that is what a lot of experts don't realize, that charging less isn't necessarily serving your clients, and it's not serving you. And when you say yes to yourself, when you say yes to, I am worth a higher value, people are going to, the right people, not everyone, the right people are going to say yes to you. And you're going to see, I mean, I'm sure you can see that these clients are at a different level. They're coming to the table in a different way. And the whole vibration, the whole energy, the results go up, the value go up. It's a whole chain effect that really happens. And also, you as a professional, you're forced to step your game and bring a better service to the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, I love it. And so tell me about your time in the academy, and what are some of the things that you really enjoyed during our 16 weeks together?
Oh, every group, every program is different, but I really, really love the ladies in the academy. Such a rich group of personalities. And because a lot of times when you're working as a coach, you're alone. You know, I'm in my little office and I'm doing what I do. And even though we're engaging people online, but it's a different dynamic when you can hear what other people are wrestling with. It's different when we're all kind of working out and trying to figure out what's the right branding and language and value proposition for me. Because again, it's a process of self-discovery. I love that. And I don't know, you haven't said that you're a sage, but I'm like, you are definitely a teacher. And so I'm very drawn to knowledge. So 30-page, you know, modules, every week or whatever, and videos, just tons of information for you to really, really get the science of it. Like I said, we don't even get to website stuff. And, I just had a photo shoot the first week of January, but we did not even start there. And I so appreciate the deep dive of understanding what had to be underneath the foundation before you start putting pretty colors on everything. Now, as I'm revamping my website, I know exactly what to tell the web designer. I'm not sitting there saying, so what do you think? And what do you think? This is my business.
Yes. This is my brand, and I'm telling you that I want this.
Yeah, I'm telling you what I want.
Absolutely. I love that you're saying that, because it is true. A lot of people want to start with the design work. They want to start because that's the part that's exciting, right? Let me do a photo shoot. Well, what's the photo shoot going to do?
Right.
What's the story that you're trying to tell? Archetypally, how do you want this to show up? And doing the deeper work of also the strategy, and knowing exactly with clarity, what is it that you're building and what is it that you're communicating and what is the intention for these physical manifestations like the colors and the website and the photo shoot. It becomes so much more stronger, meaningful. I have clients who tell me that their logo, every time they look at it, they see their entire mission and meaning in it.
That's the other thing that I got too. I got a wonderful, it's on the journal for all of you guys.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Wonderful logo and even the name Soul Love. I had the name, but I did not, that beautiful cursive. It just you just elevated and really helped me to create that elegant boutique, but at the same time, it's still personable. It's down to earth. It's for the elevated woman, and it makes her feel seen and heard and valued. I'm excited, as you can probably tell. I'm excited about ideas and creation. I'm excited about expansion. I launched a membership this year for all of my clients that weren't necessarily right to do the high-end year long, but they've been with me. They've been on retreats with me to create a sisterhood community, a membership. And even in that, Hannah, again, helped me to figure out what is the strategy for how you're going to fill that. What is going to be in the email when you invite people into that? And we're so used to just saying, join my stuff. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. But to really begin to be very meticulous about the language you use, then making sure it connects with the client so that it's an easy fill. Yeah. That you're not working so hard and always, feeling like I'm doing all this work and nothing's working.
Yes, I love that. So I just want to read quickly. We have Elizabeth here with us. We have some of your Academy sisters like Christine here. And I see Paula's here. So great to have all of you here. So Elizabeth said, I had to postpone my photo shoot because my report was arriving the day after. Hannah said, wait. Yes, I did. I was like, don't do the photo shoot before we talk about your it factor. And she's like, I'm so glad I did. Now I'm ready for my shoot. Yeah, it totally shifts the energy when you know exactly what you're doing and you understand how it connects with your it factor and your brand archetypes and the story that you want to tell. I know one time you said to me, Melissa, like when people say that they're doing a photo shoot and you're like, really?
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, you haven't worked with Hannah. You have no business doing a photo shoot. But you don't know what your brand is about. You don't know that, because imagine had I done my photo shoot when I wanted to, because I did want to do mine before, but I hadn't really gone deep enough into the process. If I had done photos in the fall, I would have done it under my caregiver archetype, which I'm not even a caregiver. I would have tried to create some kind of aura that was not aligned with me at all. And I wanted, it's not just the archetypes and the it factor. You had us go through like a long laundry list of characteristics that you want your brand to mean. And mine was power, integrity, authenticity, all of these like very strong words. And I wanted to be cuddled up with a blanket. No. And that was one of another very powerful session we had in the academy, because you said, when you do the photo shoot, this is the energy that needs to get reflected in the pictures. And I was like,
you have the 5 energies, right? Yeah. 5 energies of your archetype.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, me reflect power, whereas it's, again, we can inside kind of quietly feel like, yes, I have power. I'm empowering people. But it's like, what does that look like in a picture? What does your face look like? What kind of clothes do you wear to project power? But, in a certain, what kind of power, this feminine power. So I am so glad I waited.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did, because there are all kinds of cliches around what power looks like. And that's the beauty about the archetypes is, there's a guy who wrote a book, Joseph Campbell. He wrote the book called The Hero of, sorry, I'm going to butcher the name because it's not coming to me right now. But what he's essentially saying is that the hero has many faces. Mm-hmm. And so the hero isn't always that person who is wearing a cape and looking to jump off buildings and rescue people. Heroes are expressing themselves in different ways. And that's why this work with the archetypes is so important, and why it is so powerful in how we help our clients transform their brand, because the way the caregiver exudes power is different from the way the innocent or maybe the sage exudes power, or the explorer exudes power. And understanding the different levels of power and how that power energy is translated into images and messages is so key.
Yes, very much so.
Yes, I love it. So I want to ask you, Melissa, what did you discover in the academy that you weren't expecting?
I probably, and this may sound odd, but I wasn't expecting to find me at such a deep level. I knew that there would be some personal work involved, because if you've been in the coaching space for longer than 5 minutes, you know that 80% of it is about you and your mindset and where you are. But I really wasn't expecting to step in so deeply into a different version of me. And that work still is continuing, which is part of why I signed up to say, I'm going to work with Hannah, be one of her private clients for the next year. Because even in that, you said, Melissa, I could see you with $1 million brand. And I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh. I began to think, possibilities. But again, what kind of person would I have to be to really step into a 7-figure brand?
Yeah.
Now that I believe it's actually possible, and I'm not, laughing at myself like, oh, I couldn't do that, but to really take myself seriously and to dig in. And so I was expecting some of that, but that has probably been the biggest gift of just getting to experience me and the woman that other people have seen, but I had not fully accepted.
Wow. That's powerful. I love what you say about that self-acceptance. And so often people see us before we even see ourselves on the journey. They see the bigger potential. And I also love what you said about not laughing, because this was something that I think I really took seriously and showed up as like Teacher Hannah in the academy, because so often we say our goals or our desires and we laugh it off. Expecting that someone will, because that's what we're used to. Like people say, oh, dream on or whatever. Yes. And you came with your goal, like you wanted to make 6 figures for the year, and you were able to do it in 12 weeks. Tell us about what that experience of experiencing for yourself, that sort of ability to quantum leap what you had even set up in terms of expectations for yourself. Because it's one thing to set a goal, but it's one thing to exceed that goal in such a short space of time.
I think it's really a spiritual process. And like I said, it was, I think I really began to own and really, really see this is me. This is possible. Um, I can do this. And I think when I had those phone calls, or even in some cases, just sent an email and said, hey, would you be interested in this? It wasn't from an energy of desperation. It wasn't, it wasn't from oh my goodness, I have to perform for Hannah because I know I've had some of that. I got to be a good student.
Yes.
It was from a more empowered place of I have a lot to contribute to the world. I want to serve you at a higher level. Are you interested in doing that? And again, like I said, to stay in the momentum of that and
Yes.
not be afraid of my own success. Because in times past, I have done things where it's like, boom, oh my God, I just made 35,000 in a week. And then I would sell nothing and just kind of back up off of it, almost like I scared myself or something. And I've even said that for this month, where it's like, Melissa, don't look at the fact that you sold 620K packages, in like a month and a half as like, well, I'm done for the
I say 12 weeks. It was actually like 6 weeks. It was like 6 weeks. Yeah.
Because you didn't give me that challenge until like more than halfway through the program. And and it's like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so to not stop there and to recognize, the other thing too, I always thought that money was going to make me feel different, because my goal was, I want to make $250,000. And if I do that, then I'm a successful coach. And it was like, you kind of challenged us on that. Like, you're already successful, and I think when I quickly was able to, and those of us that know coaching, it's not like I got $200,000 in my bank that day, but just the fact that those people said yes, people were giving their deposits, my account is filling up, and it didn't really feel any different. Nothing magical happened to change me into female Tony Robbins or something. I'm Melissa still. And so I think that took some of this false power that I had given the number, this amount, and to just look more purely at, Melissa, what do you want to create and why?
Yes.
And once, if my esteem and my value is already intact and the money isn't connected to that, now I'm free to just do the work.
Love it. This is it. This is the magic of it, because as you rightly said, people we all do it. I've done it, where we attach our value to or our sense of self-worth to a certain outcome, to something happening, and realizing, because I think one of the things that I do a lot in the academy is I'm a student of the Course in Miracles, and I'm a teacher. And so I constantly teach those principles that you are wealthy now.
Yeah.
You're not going to be wealthy when you make, $1 million or 6 figures, or you get that next client. You are that now. And you have to be that. And in that being, that's when you attract what you want. And so for you, I love what you said earlier, that when you stepped into it, your clients stepped into it too.
Yes.
But it wouldn't have happened if you didn't step into it, if you didn't show up.
Yeah. That my business would have reached a ceiling.
Yeah.
Because your clients can't go past you. If they go past you, that means they've left you. Yes. So, so if I for my love of these ladies, then it was like I needed to love myself at a deeper level.
Yeah.
And to get out of this fear-based mentality of I'm going to leave them behind. And like I said, everybody can't pay $20K for the year, and that's fine. I don't want to work with everyone at that level. But it gives me room now to create other things. Versus if I'm just hope I can meet my bare minimum needs. I hope I can just make enough. Then there's no room for me to be creative. I'm still in survival mode as a coach.
Yes. You're still trying to get that next client to pay the bills, as opposed to having that, you know that you have this flow going on, and now you can focus your attention on how can I make more impact? How can I leverage to grow, to make more impact? Because if you're not making the money, you can't hire a team.
Right.
That means your service level can't expand and grow. You can't provide the level of experience that you create for clients in the program. It's like if you're belly scraping and you can't really create, like giving them the beautiful welcome packet that you want to send or whatever it is, it just takes away, and it takes away from your energy. I see people all the time say maybe they're tired of their business, or they feel like they want to do something new. And I feel that very often what happens in that case is that you're not operating in your zone of genius. You're doing all those things that you don't like to do. And suddenly you start to feel like this business isn't what you want to do anymore. You're burnt out because you're not operating in the space that you love. You're not operating in your zone of genius. You're busy trying to do everything yourself. You're busy, serving clients that don't see your value.
Yeah. Go ahead. And again, part of that is that mindset that can I have more without doing more?
Yeah.
And, because we associate more money with more work. Yeah. And, and a lot of us, we don't even know that we're sabotaging that the higher level because we don't want to do more work. But what if you could do it and you could actually rest more?
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of people don't see that possibility, and we see it, right? Because it's a group of women and we all work through our own challenges, like in the process, in the group. And we've seen it where, sometimes someone felt like, oh my gosh, now that I'm charging more, I better stuff all those things into it to make it more valuable. It's not about that. It's about value is not equated to time, and it's not equated to how much work you do. It is really the effect of what is the value that you're creating. So the most important thing is not how much time it took or how much work you're actually doing. It's what is the ROI on this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so when I am encountering my clients who are like, oh my God, my life is totally different, when they're taking vacations and they haven't taken a vacation since they got married and had a kid, just seeing them enjoy their life, it makes it so worth it. And it also motivates me to work even deeper, to do my work so that I continue to create that, not just for them, but for even more people.
I love it. I love it. And that's what we have to stay focused on as professionals, and really honoring your value. The more you honor the value that you bring to the world, the more the world will celebrate that with you, and you will attract the right people to you. I love everything that you shared. So just 2 more questions before we wrap up here today. Tell me, how has your brand presence and your authority in the world shifted since you have been doing this work?
Oh my gosh. I literally, I think I was quoting you the other day, because I know that I have shifted in my authority. I have stepped into my authority as the soul love coach. I think before, and I wasn't even aware of it, I was just being inspirational. I was not showcasing my authority. I was doing a lot of videos. I was, giving out a lot of good content, but I was not calling people into transformation. I was not making call to actions. I would do a 30, 40-minute Facebook Live and invite them to absolutely nothing. I wouldn't even ask for their email address. And I would have tons of people, saying, oh, Melissa's so great. Melissa's so inspirational. Yeah. And I had another coach ask me a similar question of like, Melissa, do you want fans or do you want clients?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a business. And so while I appreciate the accolades, I really needed paying clients. And you want paying clients, you are going to have to step into your authority. So I love that you have really fully developed that in me. I understand now that I am an expert. I am an expert in the area of women's empowerment and in women's wellness and people owning their emotional and spiritual well-being. That is me. And I don't have to tiptoe around that anymore. That I can speak, whether it's an email, whether it's in an interview or podcast, I speak now with authority that people are clear. I want to work with her. Not, oh, that was really great, but I want them to leave and say, I need to work with her.
I love it. I love that powerful distinction between being inspirational and being an authority. That is so important. Ladies, pearls of wisdom, like write it down somewhere. Make sure you're testing yourself out for that. Melissa, I wanted to, as we wrap up today, what would you say to anyone who's thinking about getting into the Global Brand Academy and doing this work on their brand, or wondering, should I actually work on my brand? Is brand important? That sort of thing. What would you say to those people listening?
I would say branding is your foundation. And without a foundation, your house can't stand. And so, you owe it to yourself. If this is not a hobby, if you are saying you are all in, to do the work of figuring out what your business is actually about. And in the process of figuring out what your business is and the message that you want to put out into the world, you find out more about who you are. And so it's a process. And as many podcasts I have listened to, books I have read on marketing, there is nothing like having a live person, and I'm biased. There is no one like Hannah Fitz. I'm just going to be your PR person.
I appreciate that.
She is not paying me, but I haven't met anyone better. She is a jewel, and I love your approach. It's so, I'm learning all these new words, bespoke, all of these. All of these, just she's very intimate. And I love that, because other coaching programs, I just had to download a module and I was left to my own devices, which God helped me. So, left to that, or go search stuff out on the internet or Pinterest, but to have someone say, yes, Melissa, that's it. Or no, Melissa, that's not on brand for you at all. And to flush that out, have conversations so you know why it's not. And it has been the best investment. It was the missing piece for me. And I knew that. I said, I didn't even want to work on my website until I worked with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It has been such a blessing working with you and your energy in the group. I know all the women in the academy. Melissa was this amazing inspiration for everyone, and also the work that you do. I'm so happy you're in that space where you see yourself and you also see that expansion, because the value that you bring to the table is so big. And for those of you who are in the spiritual and wellness and transformational world, I know that it can be very challenging to understand, like, how does that translate into tangible value? There is always a way to define that and to discover what that is. And Melissa did it, which is why she not only sold it wasn't like it was a fluke that she sold one 20K package and that was it. She repeated it and sold it over and over and over again, and will continue to sell this and continue to expand, because she understood her value, because she understood who that value was for, and she understood who she is in delivering that value. These are like the three critical pieces that you have to be able to pay attention. Who are you in delivering that value? Who is that value for? And how is that value creating transformation in their life? So I hope that you've enjoyed this interview. I see that we had some amazing, amazing people here with us today. If you're joining the replay, please drop a comment. We'll be going through. I'm sure Melissa will drop by and also leave a few comments. You can also learn more about Melissa. Tell us, where can we find you?
The best place right now is through Facebook. You can, I'm Melissa Brown, the Soul Love Coach. That's my business page. I'm revamping my website, even though I will still share it. It's soullovecoach.com, and you can find me there.
Yes, and we can't wait to see the website updates because your photos, the new photo shoot was incredible. I mean,
Yes.
just before we wrap up, like what was the journey? Like how was this photo shoot different from all other photo shoots that you've done in the past?
Oh my gosh. Well, number one, I knew what to look for. I specifically looked for a branding photographer.
Yeah.
Other photos that I've had in the past, I had an excellent photographer in the DC area. I love his photos, but he
Yeah.
tends to take pictures of models and, and that's great. But when I worked with this young woman in Austin, didn't know her from Adam. I just, in COVID environment, I was trying to find someone relatively close to me in Central Texas. So I found her in Austin. From every engagement, right on point. She was, and all of my pictures were set up for me to do branding, social media, website. I didn't have to really explain a lot. She got me, my personality. She knew when I had a plastic smile, she'd say, "Oh no, think about your ladies," and just really, so having her on that end and having done my work to know what I should be projecting, I think really created that powerful synergy. So
I love it. I love it. No, this is amazing. And the photos are truly, truly beautiful. I can't wait to see you get it up on your website. Ladies, I want to thank you for being with us today. I also have a special invitation for you. If you're curious and you want to learn more about how you can do this work on taking your brand to the next level, then I invite you to visit our website at www.hannafitz.com /, global brand. And also, if you're interested and you want to speak with me, so I would start there. So once you go on this website, there's a lot of information on the site. It's deliberate because I know that sometimes when you're considering like, what is that next step for me and what is the program that's a good fit, you really want to get the insights on what this is going to do. You heard from Melissa in terms of what she experienced, and you're going to get more details. This year, the Academy is going to be different because every year I sort of listen and see the dynamic of the group and try to observe, like, how can we add things that will make it even better? And so this year we have associate coaches coming on. We have a PR coach who will be working with you on 2 coaching sessions. So you actually have 2 coaching sessions with that PR coach. She's also giving you her full PR crash course on how to pitch to major media. She's been a coach to people like Gary Vee and some of the top people in the personal development space and a lot of celebrity experts. And so you're getting all of this amazing value in this program this year, including some other experts that I've asked to come on board. I know last year you had Daria Chisholm, who was a 2-time Emmy award-winning speaker who came in. We also had lead gen experts. So this year's going to be really, really amazing. I want you to check it out. Go to hannafitz.com /global brand. And we've also restructured like your options. So now if you want some more done for you and you want to work even more intimately with some of our associate coaches, you want to work intimately with me, there's there are 2 routes. So there's the classic route and there's a VIP route this year. So you have options. It's going to be amazing and transformational. And most of all, in 16 weeks, you will have a totally different brand.
sure.
And most of all, what I love is all the women in the Academy, the level of confidence, the who they become in the process is what is the most, for me, the most amazing thing. I mean, I love it. I live for the Academy. I spend so much time with you ladies on the call every week, and I so enjoy. The calls are long. I have to warn you, but everyone stays on till the end because, it's like you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding in the process, and you don't get that level of intimacy and that level of space where everyone gets feedback in a program at that level. And so I'm truly proud of that. And I look forward to working with you even deeper. And you can also send me a private message if you're feeling a little shy about sending the application form yet. And you want to learn more. I know Melissa said something to me that was a surprise. She's like, I don't know if I'm like Hannah's clients. Like she works with like all these celebrities.
Yes, I almost did not apply because again, you talk about that confidence. I was like, well, maybe I'm not at the level, to work with her. She's working with all these celebrities, and something in me said, Melissa, you said you want to work with Hannah. Let's go. And I feel like, Hannah, you were waiting on me. So it was perfect. You were like, I would love to work with you.
Oh yeah, you are an ideal client, and I'm excited as we take things to the next level this year. Thank you so much, Melissa, for blessing us with your presence today. And ladies, as always, live the cultured life. Ciao.